Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of SSVM EduTalk, and a very happy new year to all you lovely people who are here with us today. To start 2021, we have an extraordinary guest here with us. Thank you very much, Mrs. Vita Dani, for gracing us with your presence in this special episode.
Thank you, Srisha.
And ma'am, I must say your presence and your words are very special for all of us, and especially for every young woman watching this episode as well. To have an empowering women sports entrepreneur and a leader such as yourself joining us today is something really extraordinary. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words, Srisha.
So I'd love to introduce you to our audience without any further ado. Mrs. Vita Dani is the co-owner of the Chennaiyin FC, the two-time Indian Super League champions. And she is the chairperson and the co-owner of Ultimate Table Tennis League, the premier league for table tennis in India. It is the first of its kind institute in the whole of India that provides an international platform to our Indian table tennis players, and they help raise their skill levels as well. So Mrs. Vita Dani is also the co-founder of ELMS Sports Foundation. So this foundation has been very pivotal in raising the standards of sports in India and enhancing the physical literacy of sportsmen and sportswomen. So thanks to Mrs. Vita Dani, over 100,000 children in Tamil Nadu have been engaged in football training. So her grassroots level outreach programs through Chennaiyin FC has impacted children across all age groups and providing these children with a credible platform with professional coaching in under 13, under 15, under 18 and the B teams of Chennaiyin FC as well. So Mrs. Vita Dani, ma'am, your vision in promoting a robust sports culture and recognizing the potential in youth across the nation serves as the kind of exemplar leaders this nation needs. So SSVM is truly honored to have a visionary such as yourself here to talk with our students, the teaching community, and of course our dear CFC fans as well.
Thank you so much for your generous and kind words. Please again, thank you.
My pleasure, ma'am. Thank you. So in that spirit, shall we begin with the first question?
Sure.
So by uniting the power of sport with the power of women leadership, ma'am, I must say you serve as an inspiring example and a strong motivator for female athletes in India. So could you share your story of how you forayed into sports?
So first of all, a very happy new year to everybody out there in the audience. And I have this real special place for girls in my life. And I'm sure many of the girls are listening to this. So while growing up and you have a strong personality, and then they say, oh, you are bossy, And I would take that as a compliment. So all the girls, please listen out there. If they say you are bossy, take it as a compliment because that only shows that you have a leadership skill. And it's important in walk of life, in any walk of life, as a matter of fact, to have the leadership skill. When I took over football, to tell you a big secret, I didn't understand football. Nothing of football at all. And I said, I'm going to learn from here. And I think within about 15 days, I sat with lots of different friends, family, and understood the game. And there I was. So I think if there is eagerness to learn, if there is a a leadership quality, then you can really take your dreams forward. And also do only what you enjoy. Don't just do because you have to do it because your mom or dad said that, become an engineer or become a computer engineer or become a doctor or whatever. I'm sorry if the parents are hearing this, but really, and I tell the same thing to my children. I said, live your own dreams. Don't live your life with my dreams. And that's how each one of you should do. So really go out there, think out of the box, think something that's different, something that excites you. And there's a whole Pandora's box out there. You never know what it will take you to. If you ask me about 7 years ago, did I ever dream of being so involved in sports? The answer is no. And from there, I'd actually started off with table tennis, and then suddenly football came in our lap. And then we started with ELMS, and now the whole world revolves around sports. So don't have any inhibition. Go with an open mind, and you never know what future has in store for you. So this is not only for girls, but also for the boys present out there, that really don't have a closed mind. Go with they say let your mind be an open book, and that's what it is. Just go out there and explore the world. You never know what opportunity lies for you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. I think that's something we constantly, share with the students and the parents at SSVM as well, allowing the children to explore all different kinds of things they can, and not just fix upon one particular field that maybe they've heard from their parents or so they should have that confidence to voice out their choice as well. So thank you so much for sharing that so beautifully. And so do you feel that more women leaders or entrepreneurs are entering into the sports field in India?
Of course. I think opportunities are equal, and times have changed. Everyone's attitude has changed, and people are happy to have any gender as their boss. Like in the beginning, I remember as part of CFC, I used to be the only woman around with all these men and boys. Most of my team, as in the operating team, were like my children's age. And then there were these men who were playing football, who were part of the playing 11 or playing team. There were no women, and it was, sometimes awkward to, sit with them and talk about certain things because they are so used to being physical. And I'm sure they were not used to a lady boss as well. But then they get used to it, and they are out there they accept you really well. As long as, I think you got to realize, how you need to conduct yourself, what you need to do, what you need to say. And that's most important. So this could be true in any walk of life. If you go to a factory, very often there are more male workers than women. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That doesn't mean they'll not accept you as a boss. And this is true around the world very often, and especially in our country. But I think those doors are opening up again. More women are going out there working and getting involved in different fields. So any field is good, especially sports. If you look at the number of women athletes in India who have done well, it's unbelievable. You start off with PV Sindhu, you start off with Hima Das, Saina Nehwal, you look at Sania Mirza, you look at Manika Batra. There is just no end to it, Exactly. And I think it's good to be a role model. So always remember, be the change you want to be. Don't go out there and let people follow be the path for others instead of just following somebody else's path. So why not? Women have all the opportunities. We've had one of our greatest leaders in our country, Mrs. Gandhi, who was a woman leader. Look at Miss Merkel in Germany. What a fantastic leadership! If you look at New Zealand. Yeah. So I think there is lots to learn from women leaders and aspire to be like one of them, somebody who has done so much better. Or it not necessarily be only in politics. Look at Mother Teresa. So there are so many women leaders who can be an inspiration for all of us. Mm-hmm. And it's what we can really learn the best out of them. And why not? You can be the next Mrs. Gandhi, you can be the next Mother Teresa, you can be the next yourself, and somebody else will look up to you. So
that's absolutely true. That's very true. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, moving on to our next question, I think owning a professional team and organizing a league is not at all an easy feat. So, how do you manage your time between them? And, ma'am, we also would love to hear how you motivate the CFC team players, being the only woman there. We'd love to hear that.
Sure. So there is a lot to learn from both the roles. There are two different roles that I play, one as a franchisee owner and one as a league owner. And I think it plays a very important role. I feel all the difficulties that I face as a franchisee, I realize that I need to ensure that my franchisees in table tennis don't face it. And vice versa. There are certain decisions that I take, and franchisees, I'm sure, would not be very happy. But that's the time I realized that as a franchisee, I need to be a lot more patient. And as I said, for football, it's my family away from my family. So this is the only season when I'm not with the family. And whether it is an occasion in my family or something else, I make it a point to go out there, because I feel that if my players can leave their families and do this for me, least I can do is show up for a few days in a year. So, and I talk to them. All my players can get in touch with me directly. I talk to them for every team meeting. Even now, it's a virtual meeting because of the circumstances. But for me, it's very important. The HR quotient, I think is very, very important. I think it's good for people to know that you are there for them, you are there with them, and you will support them. I remember this in season 2, halfway through the month, we were right at the bottom of the table. It was not a very nice feeling, to be truthful, And that's the first time I decided that I'm going to enter and go and talk to the players in the dressing room. So this was in Kolkata, and I told our manager then, Marco Materazzi, I said, please tell the players are coming in, so they better dress up. There's a woman coming in. So he was also surprised. And I went and I spoke to them, and I really spoke from my heart. I think that is what is important. Every time it's not mind. They say mind over matter, but sometimes it's heart over everything else. And from that day, I don't know what happened. We went on to win 8 games in a row. That was also the dreadful year when Chennai witnessed the worst ever floods in the history. And well, we went on to play finals, and we were happy to get the cup for Tamil Nadu. So again, I feel it's good to connect with people. It is good to talk to them. And sometimes it's good to even tell them that, hey, you are here, for a reason. And you're not going to come back unless and until you perform. So better get it straight. So you can be as straight, at the same time you can just be gentle as well. So I speak to all my players, and same thing is with my operating team. And I think they're a very, very able team. Because they are able, I can do all these things. And I talk to them as well, because all of us at the end of it want to work in a good environment. We want to have a good, nobody wants to work with high stress levels and tension all the time. It cannot go on forever. So that's how I deal with the HR issue as far as football is concerned. As far as table tennis is concerned, my stress levels are a little lower, because I don't have to worry about 3 points in every game, So I look at it a little differently. But it's a pleasure. And I can only take pride in saying this, that we are one of the best leagues in the world now. And the International Federation has also recognized the same. And more than that, I think it has made a huge difference in the quality of play as far as India is concerned. So now we are in the top 10 in the whole world. And I think that is more important for me than merely feeling success at the league level. Because as a country, if we can make a difference, then that's what it is. Like earlier, the Indian players would go and see, the draw. I'm sorry. And there would be foreign players and so on. They would say, there's an Indian in my draw, and now they say, oh, there's an Indian in the draw. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the difference that we need to look at when we are promoting any game. And if we can bring about that difference in attitude where people are worried that there's an Indian player in their draw, then I think we've done the right thing. So be it any game, if you can make a difference at the national level, that means a lot more to me than any personal gain.
Wonderful. That's incredible. So I feel like this is a leadership masterclass where, we learn so much from you, and be it a sports captain in a school or head of department, I think your story is a great example. And I'm so lucky that I also had an opportunity to see your passion and enthusiasm for CFC during the matches in person, and I felt that you saw CFC not only as a team but as a family. So that's just wonderful, ma'am. And so moving on to our next question. The sporting industry is extremely competitive, and ma'am, what would you say is an important mantra you follow to stay on top of the game?
So this is my personal advice to everybody who's involved in sports, that success doesn't come overnight. And I sometimes feel that the journey is more important, than the final result. And success is not the final destination. It's again part of the journey. And when you play any sport, you're going to lose at some point of time. You cannot always win. And I think that is the greatest learning you will ever have. It's you learn from your losses more than your victories. And they say that you can earn trophies, your trophies can rust, but your memories can never. So make your journey truly memorable. There will be ups and downs. There will be things that will go your way. There will be, decisions that will go against you, which are not fair. But again, who said life is fair? So that's okay. You learn to live with all this. But what at the end of it, if you have enjoyed this journey, then you have lived it all, you've done it all, because that's most important. Fine, they say that nobody remembers number 2, but everybody remembers number 1. But for me, it's not important to be number 1, but it is important to be consistent in this. If you are in top 4, if you are in top 3, if you are in top 5, that's good enough, because every time you cannot have things your way. And it's okay. Just because you are not number 1, that doesn't mean number 2, 3, 4, and 5 are unhappy in life. They are equally happy. So it's all right. If you can be number 1, that's great. But you cannot be. Nobody can ever be. So of course we would like to win trophy for all of you all each year, but that's not possible. But more than that, if you enjoy this journey, then that's what is most important. You talking about the journey, let me tell you this little story. Again, I'm not sure many people know about this. This was in season 1. And our training ground was a little far away. I don't know what happened. The players got back into the car and they realized that there was a snake in the car.
Oh.
So it was, I think they were trying to jump out of a closed window, because nobody in the right frame of mind would expect this. Somehow there were no casualties. There was no, everything was fine at the end of it. But this is what you will remember. This is what you will laugh at. It's fine. You will cherish your memories. You'll cherish your winning of cups. But this is more fun. Same thing happened in season 2, at CFC. We were 2-1 down in the 88th minute of our finals in Goa. And it was literally 11 of CFC against the entire stadium of Goa. In the stoppage time, 90th minute, actually just after 90th minute, we made it 2-all. And thereafter, in 91st minute, we made it 3-2. And I think that was more important, more memorable than anything else. I mean, we will never, this happens once in a lifetime, they say. And I'm glad it's happened to me so early on. I don't want to wait for that long to experience something like this. So each one of you, as you go through your journey in sports, you will have special memories and enjoy those memories. This is what I tell my children even today, that you will not remember that you were so well behaved in school, but one naughty incident you will never forget, because that is what you will really laugh at with your friends, when you all are together. So make the journey enjoyable, make the journey more fun and memorable, because that is what is really going to stay with you. Doesn't mean you don't study, doesn't mean you don't excel, so please don't get me wrong out there. Yeah. But whatever you pursue in life, enjoy. That's why I said this earlier on, that only do what you love, what you are passionate about, and what you enjoy. I have never studied football. I have never studied table tennis in my life, but now I'm enjoying it. So if you do that, then you will have a reason to learn, you will have a reason to enjoy it. So that's my simple message to all the kids out there today.
That's very inspiring. Thank you so much, ma'am. And like you said, I think enjoying every step of the way is so important, because sometimes we get lost in different ideologies and, we're not there present. So I think that's really, really important. And so playing sports is fundamental to every child's personal growth and self-esteem. So, ma'am, how would you suppose we encourage every child from throughout our nation to take up sports regardless of their environment?
So, I truly believe, and I have seen this with many sports persons, that when they are pursuing sports, they are usually doing better at academics as well. And I've seen this in multiple cases. So it's not just one or two examples that I'm trying to quote out here, because they know that they have a limited time to study. They have a short window and they got to maximize it. So their concentration level is also high. When you pursue sports, you're not only physically fit, you're also mentally fit. And this increases your concentration, this increases your hand-eye coordination. All these are life-surviving skills for me. And if you enjoy one sport, trust me, you will enjoy all the sports. And suddenly I will start watching some other game, which I don't understand, but then I'd like to know, because all of them at the end of it talk about concentration, they talk about hand-eye coordination, and then of course other skills come in. But these are the two basic skills. Also there will be fear when you play. What if I lose? What if I don't do well? But let me tell you this, that fearlessness is not absence of fear. Like even today, I have a game today, and anybody who says, oh, I have a game today and I'm not stressed, is a liar. Plainly a liar in bold words. You will be stressed because you have put all your sweat on it. You want your team to do well, and there is an emotional attachment. And second thing is that nobody likes to lose. Whether you are a player, whether you are an owner, whether you are a parent, or you are a friend or a well-wisher.
Right.
You go out there to win, and nobody plays to lose. So it's okay, it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to feel, scared sometimes. It's okay to have that fear. But if you don't try, then that's the biggest failure, because then there never is a chance to win. So I don't think you should have that mindset. Go with self-belief, confidence, do your best. Now, I was reading Abhinav Bindra's biography, and it says that an Olympic journey is not of 1 year, it's of 4 years. Because you are preparing for 4 years and then the final day comes. So that is what is true for every sport, that if you have a tournament tomorrow, you've not started today. You started weeks, months, sometimes years in advance. And it's a journey that's ongoing. It's a long-term planning. And on that particular day, things may or may not go your way, but you got to give in your best. You have to try till you drop dead. And that's important. After that, it doesn't matter. As I said, then the result doesn't matter. But if you don't give in your best, then you will certainly feel that, oh, I wish I had done this. I wish I could have, I should have focused on my physical fitness. I should have, focused on my mental fitness or on my training or whatever it is, So it's important to, again, plan well for those for whatever duration of time it is, and then you will definitely achieve your goal. And even if you don't, if you've done your best, you will have that satisfaction that you've done your best. That's important in any journey.
That's absolutely true. Thank you so much for saying that so beautifully, ma'am. This is so well etched in our minds. I think it's going to stay very well for long duration. So in these lines, one of your biggest goals, I think, is to make India a sports champion. And you have been contributing through so many different ways to help India accomplish this as well. So how do we create a more competitive sporting culture here for the international arena?
So it's a very simple logic that I follow, that we are a country of billion people. And are we saying that we don't have champions? Certainly we do. They are not going to be born. There could be many more who will be born, but those champions are going to be in a different era. If you look at the current generation, there are enough champions. We need to work on both the ends. We need to work on top-down and bottom-up approach. So whether it is the grassroots, then going on to school, college, university, and then final center of excellence. And as citizens, we need to be invested in each of these levels. And only when we'll be able to complete this pyramid that we'll be able to create champions. And if you look at Gopi Chand, look at this, how systematically he has created champions in badminton. So why not in any other sport? I'm sure we can do that. So it is good to focus on one or two sports, and then whatever you have, just give 100% of that into that sport, and we'll be able to do that. Like if you look at table tennis, we have grassroots where we do municipal school program. We have school program, which we run in 25 states in the country. Then we don't have anything at the college level as yet, but then we have the league, and now we are looking at the center of excellence. So that's the only way that we'll be able to complete the entire sequence. And I'm sure this is true in every sport, and each one of us can, as I said, focus on one or two sports, and we can do this, and we'll definitely create champions. I'm sure there are champions sitting in the audience today as well. It's only a question of tapping the right potential, giving them the correct support, and ensuring that they do well, they have whatever security they need, whether it is tactical, whether it is technical, whether it is financial or any other, and they will only blossom. So really, I don't see, it's only a question of time that people will look at India as another sporting superpower. We will do well. We are number one in cricket. We used to be number one in hockey. We are great at boxing. We are great at so many of these, like wrestling, you look at it, so many of the sports we are doing well. So we will have to kind of look little harder, look at our stars and give them the right platform.
Wonderful, ma'am. That's excellent. We're all looking forward to that day when, every sport and every sports person is being empowered through this. And so, hailing from a family of entrepreneurs, you would have learned a great deal from them. So, ma'am, it would be very insightful if you could share your most cherished entrepreneurial lessons with our SSVM family.
This is a very short answer. Learning is a journey. I cannot say that I've learned it all and I'm like one big guru or a jnani. It's rubbish. It's a continuous process, and each one continues to learn till they want to learn, because this cannot happen in one day or 5 days or 1 week or anything. It has to go on and on and on. But most important is that don't ever give up, no matter what you are doing. As I said, if we had given up in season 2, we would have never dreamt of reaching the finals. And other is to have self-belief. So keep believing in yourself, and I'm sure you can do the best, get the best out of others. Also surround yourself with a good team, a sound team who will give you the right advice and the right support. And that will make your journey a lot easier. So I think these are most important points for me. This is like my learning, and I'm sure there are many more that each one comes up with. So
that's remarkable. It's very, very kind of you to even like impart those to us. So thank you, ma'am. And you have devoted your time and energy to successfully implement school programs for sports in 25 states, like you mentioned. And so, ma'am, what are the challenges you have come across in implementing them? And have you been able to identify the impact on your vision in sports?
India is a very diverse country, and we do come with a lot of differences culturally, as well as the way we think and the way we behave. And it is important to accept and connect with the right culture. Like North and South are different, and so is East and West. And in some place, what is being loud is normal will be seen as a taboo in another. So I think you just have to kind of strike a balance. There is also, as a whole country, there is not enough infrastructure that's developed. So some people may have good organizational skills, some people may have good infrastructure, some people may have good talent but may not be as well financially supported. So I think if you figure out what is really lacking and give that support, then you will really be able to get the best out of it. And no matter where you work, no matter what field you work in, you will always have something that is missing. And I think as a leader, as a boss, it is your job to figure it out. What is that piece that is missing, and how you can really supplement that piece and make life easier for everybody. And as I said, even in all this entrepreneurship, all these big words they use, that's correct. But at the end of it, you have to do what you have to do on your own. I tell this to my team at the same time, that if you fail in something, it's me who's at fault. But if you succeed, then the credit is yours. Only if you give them a confidence like that, will they be able to take calculative risks, will be able to take calls. Otherwise, they'll always be dependent on you for little pieces, because you're in different culture, because you're in different environment. We also have sometimes trouble because there are different languages. Somebody might be talking locally and will not understand as an outsider what is going on. I mean, they may mean well, they may not mean well, we don't know. But these are the challenges you have, but I think you have to learn to live with it. And same thing happens, you work anywhere else in the world, because again, they have different culture, different language, and it's okay. You got to move on in life. These are all minor creases. You got to iron them out and just go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for that, ma'am. So moving on to the next phase, at SSVM, we strongly encourage, like I said before, we strongly encourage our students to explore different kinds of sports that they have access to, and they choose a particular sport that they are passionate about, to master their skills further. And so I believe that you have a similar ideology as well. And after breaking into the top 200 of the world rankings, your son Mudit became the 6th highest ranked Indian table tennis player. So how do you feel? How did you feel about this achievement? And we would love to hear your personal experience with Mudit, supporting him through his journey in sports, and how every parent can provide that kind of support for their children.
So, as much as I'd love to take the credit for his achievements, I don't think I have a right to do that, because it's really his hard work, it's his journey, as I said, it's his sacrifices that has got him where he has reached today. But as a child, I remember we used to virtually live in clubs. There's a club which is about 10-15 minutes from my house. And every single evening, every single weekend, we would be there. In 7 days of the week, he would be probably playing 10 sports. Morning, he'd be playing something, evening, something else. The next day, again, something else. One day golf, and some day swimming, and some day something else. And we were okay about it, because for me, what is important for a child is to expand that energy. Also, when you are involved in sports, all parents can be rest assured that the child is safe. Because the child is only in sports, he's not playing video games, he is not drinking, he is not into any drugs, he's not into any bad behavior. Trust me with that, because they are so focused out there. And of course, there are lots of sacrifices. So all the kids who are pursuing sport, this is my personal experience that I'm sharing with you, that as a child, you will feel that, oh, I'm missing out on family wedding, or I'm missing out on a birthday party or a special occasion. All my friends are going out and having fun, but that's a very short term happiness. When you look at it in a long term, when you have achieved a lot more, you will say, oh, look at my friends, they are still just fooling around and having a good time. But today I have achieved something. I'm capable of, doing something. And I've earned a name for myself, which has made my family proud. So I think that sense of achievement is most important for any human being. And there are these short-term goals and short-term happiness which will, make you feel happy or sad because of the sacrifices. But it doesn't matter. In the long run, what matters is what you have achieved. And in your journey, kids, you all are alone. Trust me. Nobody is there with you. At the end of it, you have to give that sacrifice. You have to work overtime. You have to worry about your fitness, you have to worry about your nutrition, you have to worry about so many things, but it all pays off in the long run. Because then when you stand on that victory stand, when you have the tiranga on you, when you are representing your country, that pride is greater than missing any family wedding, missing any friend or your best friend's birthday, or missing any gathering. So focus on that bit. It's today what matters is your pride more than anything else. And that pride is something that you have to earn on your own. Nobody else can do it for you. If I could, I will say, okay, I'll buy him a medal, but I can never do that. You got to work hard at it. And that sweat is what is important. I remember it was 15th of August. My son Mudit was in El Salvador. It was about 2:30 in the night, and he called and he said, I'm playing my finals. I didn't even believe him that he was playing the finals, because he would be the first Indian kid, junior, who would be, especially from Maharashtra, who would have won a gold medal at the world level. And of course, I couldn't sleep thereafter. And when he stood there with that Indian flag on 15th of August, and when that Indian anthem played, he had tears rolling down his eyes.
Wow.
And that is the picture that he likes to use the most, because that is most memorable for him. So it's again going back to this belief and this, going back to the philosophy of doing things for your country. is more important than doing things for yourself. When you will be called a proud Indian, when you will be called an Indian athlete, that will mean a lot more than saying that you are a Mudit Dani or you are so and so. So keep that in mind and do it for a long-term goal. Do it for your country, and that is what will really give you the greatest satisfaction. That is what will give you the greatest high in life. That's what I tell my footballers as well. I said, when you win and the high that we all get, I'm sure. I mean, I don't drink, but I'm sure no alcohol can give you that high, because this can stay with you even in the right frame of mind, and that joy is better than anything else. So leave aside all these minor irritants and minor distractions, I would say, rather, but focus on all the right things, and trust me, you will see a different parent in your parents. Mm-hmm. You will see a different support. So today, and it doesn't have to be sports, it can be any field. Like, I have two children who are like chalk and cheese. One is into sports and one is into academics. So we don't compare, and don't ever, if parents are listening to this, then please don't ever compare your children. No two fingers are the same, no two children are the same, and no one is more favorite. They are both equal. So again, there's no number one and there is no number two. They are both equal. Even if they are at number 3, you will be as proud of your child as anybody else would be if that child was at number 1. So that's most important. Good to be competitive, but let that competitiveness not ruin your happiness. So with my children, with my Mudit also, I tell him, you chase your dream, because it's your life at the end of it. And do what makes you happy, what makes you proud. He was actually a swimmer. I don't know if I've ever shared this on any platform, but again, one more secret I'm letting out today. And his coach had told me that if Mudit doesn't reach Olympics, he'll give up his career of teaching. So here I was, a mother, extremely proud and saying that, "Arey, my kid is going to go to Olympics." Great. Then time went by, and he was also pursuing table tennis at the same time. As I told you, he was pursuing multiple sports, but it narrowed down between swimming and TT. And one day he says, "Mom, I don't want to swim." So as a mother, I actually died a million deaths, because there was this big dream that was portrayed saying that your child will go to Olympics. And he wanted to pursue table tennis where he was not even a school champion. And I said to myself that I cannot live my dream through him. And it's okay. If I push him, he will probably play for some more time. He'll swim for some more time and then he'll give up, which will be even worse. So as parents, we said, you do what you want to do. If that's what makes you happy, go ahead and do it. And then there's no turning back. So again, this is to all the children. If your parents have ever put this pressure, please share my story without any hesitation. I'm always reachable on email, anywhere. And I will convince your parents, if something you want to pursue, please, I will ensure that they allow you to do so. Because if you are happy pursuing what you want to pursue, that's more important than something that somebody else wants you to pursue. To only chase your own dreams, live your own dreams, and live your own life, because you only live once and you live your life alone. You will otherwise live with that guilt, and that will be the worst thing that will happen to you. So take my advice seriously, kids.
That was so very kind of you, ma'am. And also, I couldn't agree more on everything that you shared. So on point. And also with Mudit having experienced so many different sports, I can see that, that explains how he connects so well with so many different sports experts as well through his Sportlight. And that's been going wonderful too. So he's such an inspiration for all the kids and everybody who's trying to achieve and follow their passions. So that's just wonderful.
Thank you.
So, as we move on to the final leg of this session, I'd like to ask, in this era, we are seeing more women leaders initiating ventures in different fields. And so, ma'am, what would your message be for women who are interested in sports entrepreneurship?
Sports is really growing, and lots of different avenues are opening up. And when you say that you are pursuing sports, it's not only playing, because along with that, there is the equipment partner, there is sponsorship, there is physiotherapy, nutrition, there is mental fitness. There are so many infrastructure, there are so many other aspects where you could be involved. So if you feel that you have not been able to be a player, that's all right. You can be a psychologist, you can be a therapist, you can be you can be somebody who can be an event organizer. You can be anything. How you can help a game and make a living and enjoy at the same time. That is more important than anything else, because everybody cannot be players. If everybody becomes players, then how will the other field survive? I mean, they got to do something, right? So, as I always say, that in a house, somebody's got to cook, somebody's got to clean, and somebody's got to, earn money to ensure that others are taken care of. So this is true in any field. That with one, it's an entire ecosystem that is being supported. Like if you look at football, there is the stadium, then there is the field, so how do you, make your pitch? How do you, in cricket, how do you make your pitch? Or, you need water for that. And then you need to worry about the stadium lights, and somebody needs to worry about the stadium seats. And then Book My Show needs to ensure that the tickets are, tickets are printed, and somebody needs to ensure that there is security. So security is equally important, because if there's no security, there'll be anarchy in the stadium. So the entire ecosystem is being developed. Now you got to figure it out as to what is the role that you enjoy playing, and then be in that role. Somebody enjoys branding, so that's an equally important role. Somebody likes to do sponsorship, and here again, it would be demeaning, and it would not be fair for me to say that we cannot thank SSVM for their continual support, to CFC. Really, there are times when we have not done as well, but you stood by us, and we really appreciate that, Srisha.
Thank you so much.
So it is, you need the entire ecosystem to develop along with the sport. And somewhere you need to ensure that there are shoemakers. And this is actually the right time. Now the country is, the PM is talking about Atmanirbhar. So it is Indian manufacturing. You can be part of Indian manufacturing, you can be part of Indian system provider, you can work on, what is another thing that is really coming up really well is data analytics. So it's technology. You can be part, playing the role of technology and ensure how, technology can be used. Like we use heat mapping in table tennis. So where does the ball go, at what strength it is played, how does it, what spin it is on, what happens if you use, less power. And all this has really improved the game. Same thing is for football. We track how much do they run, at what level do they, players get tired, at what is their level for optimal, what is the best time, for the potential, how do they do the best at that time. So there are so many points which are involved in this. So you got to just figure out what is important for nutrition. You got to ensure that they eat right, and it's different for different sports. Like in cricket, they eat different, but in football, they eat different. In table tennis, game is short. They only eat bananas, few fruits or crackers. So it is so drastically different in each game, Also skill sets, muscle training. It's such an important aspect now, because every muscle that you use, you need to ensure that you use it right. Otherwise, you'll have injuries. So rehab is another very big field that is coming up. So you could be studying sports medicine. You could be studying something else, and you could still be involved in sports if that is what gives you greater satisfaction. So it's not only playing sports, but everything else related to sport that can also grow along with the sport. And also, just to tell you, a lot of these sportswomen are very conscious of what they wear and how they look. So that's another aspect. Very fashion conscious, trust me, especially when they're not there. Sometimes when I see them off the field, some of these girls, I have to kind of think twice. Is that the same person? What happened to the hair, Because everybody wants to look nice. When you're playing, it's different because you don't want hair coming in the way.
True.
But you could play any of the roles.
That's amazing. That's the whole wide, array of experiences we could be involved in. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think this was such a beautiful session, and my heart is filled with so much joy, and I'm also feeling so empowered, and I'm sure all our students are feeling inspired and empowered just as I am. So I truly enjoyed your insights and listening to your entrepreneurial journey, and I would say it is a great start to this year for all of us to listen to your story, and we are eagerly looking forward to this CFC season and cheer for our players and for today's match as well. And we cannot be more happy than this to be associated with CFC as well. So it's such a beautiful collaboration, and I believe this session has also inspired our students who are so enthusiastic about football, table tennis, or any sport for that matter. So thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you, Srisha. I'd take this opportunity to thank Dr. Mani Miklai and also Mr. Mohan Das for the continuous support with SSVM and CFC. And I really hope that this partnership goes a long way, and I hope we can add a lot more value to your institutions and be a source of inspiration for all the students as well.
Amazing. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.